Hello everybody, this is The Horror Sickness and welcome to day 3 of 7 of the Childhood Fears Challenge brought to us by the Tattooed Doorman. I haven't posted over the last couple of days. I'm not going to go into it and bore you with the details, but basically I was offered a job. I took the job, started, did my first couple of days, then another job that I'd applied for came through and it was a better job, better opportunity, so I've been trying to sort things out and not kind of leave the first people in the lurch. So yeah, you go for a while without anything, and like they say, buses, 2 come along at once, and you know, it's caused an issue, but it's a nice issue to have, to be honest with you. So I've been dealing with that stuff, and unfortunately that's meant I didn't have the time to get the videos up that I wanted to get up. Having said that, I'm going to be working tonight. I'm going to do my new first shift again, but this obviously for my second job. So yeah, pretty complicated, I'm not going to go into it. But it's just nice to be kind of back working and bringing some pennies in, and hopefully it can add to the collection and everything else. Yeah, I'm waffling on. Basically, day 3, I'm going to have to get these out real quick. We are looking at childhood fears, and this time it's ghosts. As I say, I mentioned in, I think it was the second video, it's been a while now since I filmed it, when we did buildings, my grandma's owned a pub years and years ago when I was a small child, and I have plenty of stories from there. Actually, I could probably tell one real quick. There was one particular evening, there was a party going on downstairs in the pub, obviously the accommodation upstairs, and being a young kid I couldn't be downstairs, so I had to go upstairs. I was watching TV in the living room, and I used to stay on a kind of fold out bed that was in the living room, and I liked having a sleeping bag. It was something a bit different. So I was laid there, I was watching TV, and I heard someone coming through the door. The door to the living room was behind me, and it was open, and I could hear someone coming through into the hallway, the corridor, through the door. As I turned around, I heard the light switch to the bathroom come on and the bathroom door closed. So first, didn't think much of it. I thought someone's come upstairs and gone to the toilet. But then as I started to think, I thought, well, who would come upstairs apart from my grandma, and why would she? If, you know, she's downstairs working, then she might as well just use the toilet down there. So I got up and I went to the toilet, and I thought maybe something was wrong, so I knocked on the door, asked who's there. Basically no one answered, so I tried the door and it was locked. So I thought, well, someone must be in. Obviously it only locks from the inside, so I knocked again. Nothing. So at this point I got a bit freaked out, and I turned as if I was going to go downstairs and try and find out what was going on, and as I did I heard the latch unlock. So I went back to the door, obviously expecting it to open and for someone to be there and find out what's going on. It didn't open, so I knocked again, said hello, no one answered. So I've opened the door and there was no one inside. Now, I don't know the explanation to it. It's kind of a creepy thing to have happened. I don't believe in ghosts, you know. I'm not going to stand here and say that I believe the spirit of a dead person was going for a piss. But yeah, something I can't to this day explain, and there was many stories, a lot worse than that actually, that happened, that I was witness to, or you know, happened directly to family members or friends and things, or just people that came to the pub. Hope maybe one day I'll kind of mention a few more stories, but yeah, I thought I'd put that in there. Anyway, we're looking at ghosts, and this is about childhood fears. As I say, that kind of did freak me out, but I didn't necessarily have a fear of ghosts growing up as a child. Other things kind of freak me out a little bit more. What I do want to do, I want to show a few films. I want to show real quick, if you haven't watched my other pick, The Haunting, I think this would have worked perfectly as well. I picked this for day 2 for building, scary building. So obviously I'm not going to pick that again, but it could work perfectly for ghosts. The first one I was going to pick, and I mentioned it in building as well, and looking back, it's probably not the best reason really for picking it, but I really wanted to get it in there, and it's The Entity. It's a massive favourite of mine. Perfectly Tattooed Doorman's picked it for ghosts, so obviously I'm not going to go for that, but absolutely brilliant. I love this film. If you've not seen it, massive recommendation for it. What I want to do as well is, I'm not going to go into these. If you want to know anything more, please message me and I'll talk about them a bit in the comments. But maybe a few more obscure films. Last Christmas I went away with my wife. We went to Malaysia and Singapore for a trip for 3.5-4 weeks, and obviously while I was there I was picking up a few little bits, and I was in Singapore and this film had just been released. It's a fairly local film, it's called Haunted Changi. Basically it's a found footage film, and a bunch of people go and investigate this hospital. Now this place, Changi, is a real hospital in Singapore, and it is known to be haunted and everything. So the fact that this film was made, and it's found footage, you know, they've not just made up a building or a situation or a story. The story was already there, and they kind of took that and made a film based on it. It's not the best film, but I just really love the fact that these kind of places do these kind of things. This was a special edition as well. It comes with a bit of a film strip, so I don't know if it's got a release over here. I haven't heard much about it, and you know, most of you won't like it. I just like the fact that I've been there, and it's a bit of a story based on something that I heard about while I was there. Another one, this is really obscure. These are actually from Indonesia, but I picked these up while I was in Malaysia. The first one up is Hantu Aborsi. Anybody that knows Frightmare 100, my previous channel, may have seen me show this before. It's not the best film, you know, I'm not going to pick this as my choice, but I just love the fact that these places put so much effort. Even though it's not the best film, there's CGI in there which I don't particularly like. The story's not great, the acting's not fantastic, but it's got a real charm about it. It's just, there's something about the fact that they've made such an effort to put this film together. And it's just really easy to tell. It comes with a special feature, just one, of a behind the scene, it says. And it's a lovely little feature. It's basically showing, they're like a little family making this film. I say it's never going to be the best film, it never has the biggest budget and everything else, but it's just, there's more feeling in this film than there is in 100 Hollywood blockbusters for me, and that's what gives it real charm. This is Hantu Aborsi. Another one very similar, it's from Indonesia again, and it's one called Susuk Pokong. As far as I can tell, the idea is that when people die, you can, it's hard to tell, I think you can reanimate them by putting these pins in. I'm going to get this wrong. There's a better story behind it than that, but again, the reason I want to show it is just it's a local story. It's an Indonesian film, and they've obviously taken local legends, urban legends and things to make this story, to make this film. And I love that. Obviously Hollywood and everyone else, they kind of have the generic thing. So you've got vampires and werewolves and ghosts and all these things that we're all very used to. So to make them original is getting more and more difficult, and Hollywood is failing for me. So they seem to go over to Japan and pick Japanese stories like The Grudge and these things and their local legends, which then for me personally don't translate that well, because they're being told by the people that experience them, and it's their stories. They're the ones that should be telling them, not America for me. So films like this I absolutely adore. It's not the best film, not the best acting, not the best story and everything. Well, the story's great, not the best acting and not the best cinematography and things like that, but there's just genuine feeling to it, and it's a genuinely, for them, a scary urban legend, a local story, local myth, and to give it a lot of credit. So that's Susuk Pokong. My actual pick kind of gets put in with the Del Toro films, so you know, Pan's Labyrinth and Kronos, Devil's Backbone. This is The Orphanage. Now it's not directed by Del Toro. As far as I know, he was approached to do this, and he was supposed to make it. And I think it's Bayona. J. Bayona ended up being the director of this one. It's presented by Del Toro. As far as I can tell the story, he kind of handpicked this guy, or at least passed this film on and said, look, I think you should do this film. I think it'd be perfect for you. And to be honest with you, it's got such a feel of a Del Toro film. But yeah, it's a big favourite of mine, really, really creepy. Again, I could have probably picked the building that's in it, that they're converting for this orphanage, is really creepy at times. And obviously the scene at the end where she ends up finding what's going on and she's in the bowels of the building. It's quite a creepy set. The scariest thing really, if you know this film, the little kid in the kind of sack cloth mask thing. But yeah, just a really big favourite of mine, and that's going to be my pick for day 3. I've just realised I've rambled on for 10 minutes. But yeah, if you've stuck with me for this long, if you're still watching, thank you very much. I'm going to go straight in and record day 4 because I need to get that done. And get that posted up as soon as I can. And then we're actually on day 5 as I'm doing this, so I'm going to wait for Tattooed Doorman to post his. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to come back and do another one, so probably 3 videos today. So plenty of editing to do. If I get anything wrong, I do apologise. If I'm rambling, I apologise. If the intros aren't as good as usual, I apologise. And as I say, if you stuck with me this long, thank you very much. Anyway, blah. That's it. My pick for Ghost is the orphanage. Thank you very much for watching. Tattooed Doorman, his link's going to be below, and thank you very much for setting up this challenge. This has been the Horror Sickness. Take it easy, everybody.